welcome to the Spodcast. This week we've got Rhys Hunt. Rhys, welcome.
Hi mate, thanks for having me.
That's right, so we're at the massive Bradley's in the Cotswold Water Park. Before we get into this session, let's talk a little bit, obviously, how I bumped into you onto Christchurch.
Yeah.
And you had a bit of a
a bit of
a session, wasn't it?
Well, the start of it was good. That was I peaked too soon, didn't I? To be honest, but
that would do, wouldn't it, for a peak?
Yeah, I was happy. Sat down, had a few beers, and chilled out. And I didn't really care about anything from that point onwards. That was epic. Yeah.
So that
really
was what
good.
your second session on there, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I went up on spec off the back of. I woke up on my club water on a Friday morning and. Thought, bugger it, I'm going to Christchurch, so I didn't have a charged power bank and didn't have anything really, and just jumped in the van, booked a ferry because I'm on the Isle of Wight, drove up and I fished it did a 48 back in, I think it was the end of April, and had a fish on my first morning. That was a PB mirror, £33 on the nose.
Nice.
That was really, really good. It was a cool experience. Oh, little beep, go on.
Come on.
My first Cotswold carp. Yeah, that was good. Fell in love with the place, to be honest. Really, really enjoyed it. Got good vibes, good breakfast, and the fish are epic, aren't they? They're mega. The whole place, it was just electric. The atmosphere was really cool, especially when they put on them big shows.
God, that's something else, isn't it?
Just blew my mind when you start seeing these fish lumping out, and you're seeing £40 fish lump out in front of you in this gin clear water, and you see the scale patterns, and I'm like, oh my God, this is terrifying. But so it was good, and I'd made arrangements with my mate Craig, who you met at church when we came up for that session, to do a mainland trip, as we call it when we're on the island, on the Isle of Wight, for the end of, was it the first weekend in May? Was it the first weekend in May, or was it the end of May? End of May, sorry.
I think it was before that, because the last time I went was the first week of May, wasn't it? So.
Oh no, it was the end of April then.
Yeah,
and I'd been 2 weeks before, that's right. So I'd
it.
gone the second week, and then 2 weeks later we came back. And we were supposed to be going to Horseshoe, because I used to fish Horseshoe back in the day. I fished it quite a bit actually. And I wanted to go back there. I knew it had a bit of a resurgence, and the stockies had all started to look really lovely and grow on. But obviously after being to Lynch Hill, it was... I said, this is where we're going. It wasn't a discussion. I said, we're going back here. So that was it. And we were in communications, weren't we, and chatting away and stuff like that, and managed to get a peg in No Carp Corner.
Yeah.
So we had an early start. I think it was a 3 o'clock ferry. Got to Christchurch when the gates opened, with plenty of time to spare after being shopping and getting supplies and stuff like that. Got ourselves the buckets and did the bucket run. Which is a lot more complicated as you get a bit further into the season. Bucket upon bucket upon bucket. And it slotted into, I can't remember now, was it 12 and 13?
Yeah, no, 11 and 12.
11 and 12. But there was no fish down there. I couldn't see any fish. And obviously, in the day-only swim that we'd walked past, just by the side of the point down there, we could see they were putting on quite a show, weren't they? They'd followed that breeze in, and they were definitely putting on quite a show. It looked quite ziggy, to be honest, but they were in there in numbers, and so I think I was in the peg for about 2 hours. Led in the peg that I was in 11, led in and led in and led in. There's a horrible green candy floss weed that couldn't get a drop anywhere, and it was just covering everything. And I was starting to get a bit frustrated because I didn't know if I was going to be able to, present a bait anywhere really. Obviously you're limited in terms of your distance. I think it's 40 yards in those swims, isn't it? So I decided to, I think I said to you, are they still showing? And you said yes, or did I go on? I can't remember now, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I was sat there, wasn't I, in peg 10,
in 10.
around that side, because they were all showing to the right, weren't they?
Yeah.
And I was just sat in a bucket there watching them. Yeah, and I think I even got Craig to pop down and watch, because it was just unbelievable, wasn't it?
Mate, unbelievable is not the word, but... Yeah, so I thought, right, I'm going to go and make the most of this opportunity. When you get a chance on a tricky lake, or you get a chance on any lake. I've always been an advocate of, doing what the fish tell you to do rather than camping and hoping they turn up. Yeah. So I put a naked chod on, put the bead up really high because I didn't know what the bottom was like. I think I set the bead at like 8 feet. I knew there was weed there, so that's all I knew. Yeah. And a really basic chod rig with a really basic krill boilie, standard They like a bit of krill in there. And I walked round, and there was a matey fishing in the point who I'd actually met before. Can't remember his name now. Nice lad, but he was fishing in the point, but he wasn't there. There was a bucket in the day-only swim, and I know you're not supposed to bucket day-only swims unless you're moving in or whatever. So I sort of hung around a bit, and I walked up the bank and saw some other lads, a lad from Bristol who helped with the fish, and Robbie Bryers, who everybody knows had some amazing success recently, and I'd met Robbie before as well. And yeah, I went up to them and said, look, do you know whose bucket it is? You seen anybody? Is anybody? No, don't know anything. He said, get in there, or we're going to get in there, because there's fish everywhere. So I went back down to the swim, and I literally swung my my choddy out with a little 1 ounce lead, and swung it out maybe 2 rod lengths, maybe 3, underarm, and just got no drop whatsoever. It was fishing, so I put it down in the rest. And I reckon I must have seen about 10 shows in the space of like 5 minutes. They were lumping out. They were properly going for it, slashing. You remember they were like hitting. I can picture it now. I'm getting in the zone. Yeah. And they were like hitting the surface fast, sideways, and then you'd see the odd head and shoulder. But they were. I'm sure they were on something. They were, there was some Chironomids buzzers or something hatching there, and all of a sudden my bobbin just pulled up tight. Nothing happened. I'm not sure if I'd had a liner or if I'd been done to this day. I still don't know what that was. So I just wound it in, just quick look at everything, checked the hook point. Yeah, that's all good. Made sure the bead had stayed on, and swung it out again, exactly the same spot. Put the rod in the rest, slack lined it, and I'm sat there, and I'm on my phone, and I'm looking up the lake, and I'm watching show after show after show, and then this great big common lumps out over my rod. And Craig, my mate who I travelled up with, I messaged him and I said, I've just seen a £30 common lump out over me bait. But I think I might have said 40 actually. I can check my messages, but obviously just be sat here waiting for me to do it. But I think I might have said 40. And as I pressed send, it just went, pulled up tight. And then it just went, I was like, oh Jesus, what have I got here? And it didn't do a lot. It went on one good run, then it kited around a bit, and then it went deep, but it wasn't doing much. It was slow and ponderous and heavy. I knew I had a good fish. Yeah. My previous PB common was only £26, I think. So 26.
I think you messaged me mid-fight, didn't you?
I was actually playing the fish, and I messaged you saying I'm in or got one or something, because I'd been netting everything, of course, but I was thinking I could do with a hand here because I had no waders on. It was a really, really shallow swim, and or shallow and close, wasn't it? Like only a few of them are there. Yeah. But anyway, in it come, and I managed to poke the net out far enough, and it come in easy, and I jammed the net in the bank, and I think I sent another couple of messages. I've got a fish. Can someone come and give me a hand? I rang Craig, do us a favour, bring some scales down, and he's going, "What? You've got?" I said, "Yeah, I've just and I'd been there 10 minutes, hadn't I? Yeah, literally." And I took a bit of a look at it. I didn't look at it properly. I took a bit of a look at it. I left it in the net in the water while I was waiting for my mate to come with the scales and a mat and stuff like that. I think I had a mat, and I said to Craig, "I've got a £30 common here." And he went and had a look at it, and he just turned around and looked at me. He said, "What's your PB?" I said, 26. And he went, "Yeah, you've got a PB there." And he went, "I think it's a bit more than 30. All right, okay. Anyway, he lifted it out of the water, and as he lifted it, he looked at me and he went, I'm going to swear, he went, "Fucking hell." He went, "That's not a 30, or it's a big 30, or something like that." And I'm just kind of stood there a bit shell-shocked. The rain was pissing down, wasn't it? That squall came through, and we were all getting a bit soaked. You'd come over, and there was a few spectators. And then matey who was in the point rocked up. Oh, he was bouncing, bless him, because it turns out that not only was he in the point, but he'd bucketed the peg next door, and his alarms were actually in the swim. I hadn't seen them. They were kind of tucked in between some reeds, and he rocked up, and he went nuts. But he was off the complex, and he really wasn't happy. He was shouting and bawling and all the rest of it, and he stomped off. And I thought for a minute it might get a bit hairy actually, but he calmed down in the end, didn't he? He came back round, and he saw, I've just had some really bad luck. My car's broken down, and he'd been gone for ages, hours, literally about 3 hours, I think. And anyway, he helped us do the fish, and Robbie took some photos, and you took some photos, and Craig took some photos, and There's the other lad, I forget his name now, the lad from Bristol, the big blonde lad. He was great. He helped us as well. He was the one who said he knew what fish it was. And
Yeah.
so yeah, it turned out to be Ben's common. We settled on £41.8. So it's a fish I may never beat that. It's still a breathtaking moment, that, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's a proper English carp in it.
And
do
the
you know what I mean?
photos really reflect that. Some of them as well really capture the moment, don't they?
Yeah, there was some
Like
some
all
of the
the-
shots that you and Robbie did.
Yeah.
You know,
Not just the trophy shots, all the different angles and stuff. And
there's some water shots were banging, but you know the ones where some of the pictures did the rounds a little bit, actually, Sticky Shader and stuff.
Yeah.
And some of the ones where the matey actually who bucketed the swim, he chucked the bucket of water over me for the PB. He took great delight in that.
Yeah.
I did ask him if he pissed in it first. Or someone did. That might
I
be
think
you,
that was
actually.
me.
And it was really, really cool. So that was it. I think we started fishing at midday. And by like 2:30, I'd bagged a £40 English common, a known fish, and
that was it. You were done, weren't you?
Yeah, I was toast.
yeah.
I think I flicked some
Awesome.
chuddies around in my swim, but I spent most of it walking around telling anybody who'd listen about what had happened.
Not only that, you were probably knackered as well, knackered
Yeah.
and buzzing. Then the buzz was wearing off, and you'd been up since God knows when.
I went and got some beers. I remember
Yeah.
that. So we drove
Yeah.
into the little the shop in the village, and
Yeah.
I got some beers and ordered food off of Julie, and that got delivered later on. And
Yeah. So
yeah,
they were very happy chappy.
very, very, very unbearably happy, I think.
Yeah.
I remember you and Craig coming into the swim, and I've got that on my phone, that video, because I was on my Instagram.
Oh yeah. I
And
remember that.
you boys just stood there. I was like, have you boys heard of anything good getting caught today? And you were both like, nope. Oh, nope, nobody's had anything good? And you were like, nope, haven't heard a thing. Oh, maybe I've pushed it too far.
That was a hell of a session, mate. wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was cool. It was great stuff, mate. And you'd had a couple as well, hadn't you? Before
Yeah,
you'd had the two fish
I had-
before we
yeah,
arrived.
I'd had a couple, from like really close in as well. One from just around the right, 3 or whatever it was, 4 rod lengths, and one like 3 and a bit rod lengths out.
Yeah, they seemed to get in close down that end.
Yeah.
And funnily, they backed off. The wind howled in, didn't it?
Yeah,
The wind absolutely howled in.
There was
and
like
I
a
thought we were on
time
it.
zone, wasn't there?
Yeah.
It was like probably 2-3 hours tops, I think. They were just showing like mad. Then
When the wind got up,
Yeah.
they backed off it.
Yeah.
And you could see them all at the other end.
Yeah, so I don't know if, I suppose it's quite a small lake, if there's like a quick
Undertow.
bit of, undertow, I don't know how it works on there, but it's that sort of shaped lake, and it's sort of oval, where it lends itself to, I suppose, where the wind's blowing that right angle. Yeah, hell of a session that, mate.
Amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
really cool. And weirdly, although I've been in touch with quite a few people, made friends up there, yourself and, quite a few others, and still speaking to quite a few of the lads, and
Yeah.
spoke to Nick the bailiff once and rang up Julie, and but I've made plans and not followed it through. I've not gone back yet.
Yeah.
And I said to you on text the other day, I think I'm just going to shelve it. I know it's rammed. I know it's really
Yeah.
busy. After Lance's epic session, Robbie's epic
Yeah.
session,
Yeah.
a few other lads have been hauling as well.
Yeah.
Russell's done consistently been bagging the big fish. And,
Yeah.
Um,
And then Nick had 4
Nick
scale.
had 4 scale out the
That
other
was
day,
a
didn't
fish.
he?
I-
Oh,
That's
it's a
the
cool
one
fish.
for me.
Yeah, black as a hat.
Yeah,
mate. That is
lovely.
really cool. I haven't seen a bad fish out of Church or Willow or Stonies,
Yeah.
the whole complex, and
Yeah.
hopefully it'll continue with the uncertainty that's around that.
Yeah.
But I've not been back, but I will go back, and I'm gonna hopefully the summer anglers will drop off the radar a little bit once it starts to cool, and September October time I think I'm gonna put in some proper hopefully get a couple of 3-4 day sessions in.
Yeah.
And Christmas time as well, and probably
Yeah,
do a
definitely
week.
up for that. Yeah, I'm going to definitely go back. Like you say, it just gets under your skin, doesn't it?
It does, yeah, it does.
That
It's a
sort of
special place. But it's kicked off. I think it sparked something new in me now that
Yeah.
I've never. I can honestly say that I've just gone carp fishing or any type of fishing to. That's not true. I'm a bit of a specimen hunter. I do get quite competitive, but generally, as long as I'm catching fish, I'm happy. As long as they're a certain type of fish and I'm catching them where I want to catch them in a certain way,
Yeah.
on my terms, I guess. But that's definitely sparked something different in me where I can now honestly say I can understand having a target fish and doing a
Yeah.
campaign for something, because being that elated of catching something after having a rod in the water for 10 minutes,
Yeah.
imagine amplifying that by
Yeah.
a 2-year campaign,
Yeah,
or a
if
6-month
it's one that you've been going
Yeah.
for. Yeah. Yeah.
it must be You know, it must be hard to top a feeling of having a fish like that. But that must be the way you do it, surely.
Well, I think old Mitch's one is a good example.
Yeah,
of
yeah,
the
absolutely.
prop.
We're sat in his back garden, aren't we?
Yeah.
Saw him yesterday. He introduced me to the lake and gave me some gin. And yeah, we're sat in his back garden, and I think he was 5 years for the croc.
Yeah, yeah. And you've been having a mess around with his pets in here.
Oh, those frigging crayfish.
This is your first experience, isn't it?
Yeah, I've never fished anywhere with his crays before, ever.
Yeah.
So obviously I've spoken to yourself, I've spoken to Mitch, I've spoken to a few other lads, Terry Wood, who's fished here a couple of times, obviously Matt Woods, who's a good friend of both of ours. He works in the tackle den, and he's been up today and brought me bacon and, you know, turned up with a hot breakfast roll. Yeah, it's good from the burger van. And they all said, look, you know, you won't get away with anything but plastic hook baits. They will clear you out, etc. So but the thing for me was when you said to me last night, no one had said it.
Yeah.
You said to me last night, because it's summer, I'm a bit of a water baby. I've just got my flip-flops on.
Yes.
I've got a couple of pairs of shorts. If I get wet, I get wet. I change my shorts. I don't really care.
Yeah.
Because it's warm and
they're
you know,
dry,
Yeah, I don't mind. And you said to me, have you seen them in the margins yet? And I'm like, what? in my flip-flops.
Yeah, wait till it gets dark.
I went out about 10 and the light had gone pretty much. The sun had set. There's still a bit of light in the sky. And it was just black with them all around my rod rest. They're about, 6 or 8 feet out from the bank, and it was black with them. So when I had a tench at just after 12, it was it was like a bush tucker trial, trying to jab them away with my spod rod and then jump in the gaps that I'd made and then grab the rod and then jump back on dry land and squeaking like a girl the whole time. I'm glad no one was watching. But it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. It's another new challenge and one that I wanted to take on, one that I'm enjoying.
It's a lovely water, but they all come with their own set of problems on it, don't they?
Yeah, it's a big learning curve, Don. I mean, obviously we've just been chatting before we started this, and I've never fished anywhere. Is that hitting the mic?
That's right.
I've never fished anywhere this big. Horseshoe's the biggest I've ever fished before. It's 60 odd acres, I think, and it's 62 at Horseshoe, and this is 120.
Yeah.
And when I first walked down, I was pretty daunted. I'm not going to lie. I was looking at it thinking, you know, Jesus, this is a big expanse of water, and there's quite a lot of outbounds or inaccessible stuff like that. But I was talking to Woodsy when he came up earlier. Once you sit in the peg, once you've chosen where you're going, I had nothing to go on other than this is supposed to be a good peg. I'm sat in Bayless Point. And I managed to slot in here after killing time for 4 or 5 hours in the peg next door when matey left. And but once you're in the swim, it almost feels like the lake gets smaller because you can only see what's in front of you. You can only fish what's in front of you. But howling crosswinds, weed, crayfish, boats, paddleboarders, kayaks, people's dogs on paddleboards. There was a person on there with him. Speedboat. It's interesting. It's definitely interesting.
Can make it very stressful.
And then the plagues of tench as well. I miss plagues. I've had 2 really nice tench, and I don't mind catching them if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I like catching them. I'd like to catch them on lighter gear. If I was going to, I said to you earlier, I'd like to do probably a session to target them. But it's definitely got me cogs whirring, and it's definitely somewhere that I think I can see myself spending quite a lot of time as my fishing evolves and as I can, really, to be honest.
Yeah. What's the weed like now then? Is it pretty savage?
It's not. It's probably not very high off the bottom, but it's pretty much everywhere on the bottom.
Right.
So I mean, a couple of spots I've had a pretty good drop. There's still some weed on it, but not much.
Yeah.
So, but I would say that. Oh God, I don't know. I'd be guessing, but probably 90% of that water that we're looking at in front of us has got weed on it. That oniony green onion weed.
Springy stuff.
Yeah. So it's, you know, helicopters and balanced baits, but critically balanced pop-ups and fairly long hook lengths for me anyway.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty confident I'm presented. I've caught tench off the 2 spots that I'm fishing, so that gives me some peace of mind that I'm fishing okay. So hopefully the carp will turn up and I'll get to celebrate.
Yeah, we said that, didn't we? If you're catching tench, you're doing something right.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, it's the fact that there's crays in here, and like I say, they're renowned for turning over hook points and stuff, aren't they, as well? With fiddling, you see you're fishing reasonably anti-tanglish rigs, aren't you?
Stiff booms and stuff like that.
Yeah. But so if you're nailing tench, which in terms of feeders, finicky in comparison to the carp, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean they do say that tench get away with it more.
Yeah.
With the carp rigs and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I mean, I don't know. The waters that I fish generally, there's a few tench in them, but I don't think there's numbers of tench. But there's more carp, so I think you're more likely to catch a carp anyway.
Yeah.
But I mean, surely in my mind, I'm selling it to myself that if I can hook a tench, I can hook a carp.
Yeah.
If there's tench on the spot, surely carp will visit too. Surely they'd investigate.
Yeah.
The bottom getting churned up and all that good stuff. So I just take it as a positive, and fingers crossed it'll lead me to a carp. I'm in a
Yeah.
good spot and the conditions are perfect.
Yeah. You think all that heat we've had, nice
Big pressure
cooler.
drop.
Yeah.
Big pressure drop, southwesterlies, still a
Yeah.
pretty big
Bit of
moon.
rain.
It's muggy. They did
Yeah.
forecast thunder and lightning, but we haven't seen that. That's missed
Yeah.
us, I think.
Yeah, I did see that. It was due sort of right now, really, wasn't
Yeah.
it? I think as well at one point. So obviously tackling a water like this was sort of not out of your comfort zone, but something different.
It's definitely out of my comfort zone.
Yeah?
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely out of my comfort zone. It's nothing like I've ever done before.
So what would you do different, say, here than Christchurch? I mean,
Well,
still-
actually, it's a really good question. What would I do differently?
Still leading about, aren't you? I suppose without
Yeah,
float.
I mean, when I turned up, the wind was howling, and I probably tried to fish longer than I've ever fished before.
Yeah.
Clipped up at 30 yards and 30 wraps, 30 yards.
That's
Big
impressive.
chuck.
Yeah.
Big chuck. Clipped up at 30 wraps and I couldn't hit it.
Yeah.
I could probably, if I really smashed the rod, I could probably get it. But I knew I wasn't going to be able to fish accurately, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to bait accurately if I could bait
Yeah.
at that range at all.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to push myself.
Yeah.
As it happened, the wind's dropped off, and I could probably be fishing further than I am now. But it gives it getting strong again tomorrow, and I wanted to be fishing within myself.
Yeah.
Everybody fishes at range on these big pits and stuff, but that's not to say that I have to.
No.
So yeah, it was watch the water, led around, and I wasn't shy with it. I took as long as I needed to. I was pushed for time because the sun was going down, but I thought, genuinely, if I hadn't have found something that I was happy to fish on, I wouldn't have put my rods out last night. I wouldn't have fished for the sake of it and just gone bugger it,
Yeah.
because I don't see the point. So I kept going and kept going and kept going. Getting the actual rods out was a little bit more rushed.
Yeah,
But
it's just
I
getting
found
dark.
spots that I wanted to fish, and I really took my time to get the size of them and get the feel of them, and what different parts of the spot kind of felt like. There's a bit of a harder spots within spots. People have always said to me, and
Yeah.
I think Church actually. My first session on Church was where I really put that into practice, and Sandhurst Lake recently as well. Had a good session on Sandhurst. First visit there, 4 fish. My mate Liam, who's a great little angler. He's only 18, I think, and wise beyond his years. Really,
Yeah.
really, really good angler. And him and I had a session. Say we had 4 each.
Yeah.
With bigger fish than me as well, the little shit. And there was spots within spots for me.
Right.
I could get a drop between weed beds, but I
Yeah.
couldn't get bites off all of it.
Right.
Which
Sort
was
of
interesting.
harder areas.
It's all silt, but
Yeah.
harder bits of silt.
Yeah.
A cleaner, a glassier pull
Yeah.
before it got sticky.
Yeah.
That kind of.
Yeah.
And
That's the beauty of braid, isn't it? As well, I think I've noticed that from fishing braid on the rods as well. It's just like
you get so much more
Yeah.
feel with it. I mean, something that I've been, trying to teach myself a little bit is not just to pull with a rod tip. Is I'll get me drop and I'll point the rod at it and just tweak with my fingers and just see if I can feel anything that I might not feel if I'm sweeping the rod back a bit too
Yeah.
quick or something like that.
yeah, 'cause it can bounce, can't it?
Yeah,
It's
you hit a
tight.
bump and you might go over. It might
Yeah.
lift up and. 2 different types of leads. There's one with the probes on it. You can see them by my sticks
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Plain 4-ounce bomb, and then one with the things on it. And I switch between them if I feel like I get a drop and it's clean with the bomb, and then I'll put the probes on and go. Actually, there's silkweed there, and but yeah, I probably a lot of the people listening to this stuff, I'll just be preaching to the converted because surely that
no, you'd be
is.
surprised. No, it's you forget what you know as well. You think there are plenty of
Yeah.
people just getting into it, and it's a mindset you slip into. You realise how much you've learned over the years. I think. Do you think someone is just starting, or even after a year? The little
Yeah.
bits like that.
I think that's really important, though. To be honest with you, we're both going backwards and forwards. We're hunched over on my bench here. It's really cosy. My neck's here. I'm trying to keep my eyes on the water at the same time.
I don't know why you decided to sit on my lap though.
But I think that's really important. And I was thinking this afternoon. Obviously, I knew we were doing this today, and I wondered what questions you'd ask me and stuff. I didn't know if you'd have anything prepared. You haven't.
No, I never do. Prepared is not my middle name.
I just thought one thing that I think is really, really important is having a learning attitude, and I apply that to my life, not just my fishing, and having an open mind, always being willing to... That was a fish there then. Did you see it in line with that orange buoy? I think it was a tench. But
okay, what?
Right on my spot. Halfway between my rods,
right, okay,
or two-thirds of the way between my rods and the orange buoy. It's about 6 foot off the left-hand side of my spot.
Right.
I'm sure that's a bit of a flat spot there as well. They're feeding there.
That's good.
Yeah, let's catch one. Hopefully there'll be some carp in there with them.
Yeah.
What was I saying? Learning attitude, yeah. I think that having a learning attitude is really, really important. And I've like to think that whatever type of fishing, because I do all types of fishing, I tend to do it in phases. I don't do it all at the same time, and I'll approach something for a period of time. Yeah. And once I get to a point where I'm, probably being consistent, I then tend to drop off again. Like,
do something else.
Do something else now, But it's that learning attitude. I really enjoy learning. Yeah. And that's one of the things that I've enjoyed about coming back to carp fishing after a decade off, actually, until last September, was that I've had to relearn a load of stuff. I've had to relearn the basics, and then I've had to relearn a load of new stuff as I start to challenge myself with these, trickier waters, inverted commas, like church and stuff like that. So I think that with anything, whether it's life, whether it's work, whether it's family, whether it's your kids, whether it's your missus, and just having that learning attitude and being able to embrace, new things, take stuff on board. You don't always have to use it, but you can still learn it. Yeah. And I like to think that that's something that I've always been good at. It's helped me with my career, and it's definitely helped me with my fishing and stuff.
Yeah, it's that growth mindset, isn't it?
Yeah.
And always, you can learn so much from someone else as well, even if they're new, they do something slightly different.
How many people do you bump into that haven't been doing something long? Or how many people do you see rock up on a lake, for example, with a completely different approach, and all the old heads, the regulars go, this is how we do it here, and you can't spawn there, and they only like fish meals, or whatever it is, and this is how you do it, and blah blah blah, and then someone comes in and just completely breaks the world. Yeah. And that was a tense, you little I got my pulses going then as well. A little black head just popped out. And they clean up, and that's not to say that the first thing you should do is run around, ask loads of questions, and then immediately copy. Yeah. But I just think it illustrates perfectly that you can learn something from anyone, no matter how good you think you are at something. Even if you're the best of the best of the best, the best keep evolving. They keep getting better. They keep learning. They keep growing. And that. Just look at any sportsman or any great entrepreneur or anything like that. And I just think that that's how I like to think I approach my fishing.
Yeah, well, that's what they say. Like, can often be the kiss of death in business. It's when you hear someone that's been there a while say, "Oh, I've always done it that way."
Absolutely.
Then you might
and
as well.
One of my favourite sayings I learned when I was a high-flying corporate sales manager. I quit that job almost 12 months to the day. Actually, it was just over a year ago. I think it was last week was my anniversary of starting the business.
There's one to the right as well, just so in line with that tree point.
Go on, the lads.
Yards out.
I'll have to put some more bait in there before it gets dark, I reckon. Yeah. Be cleaned out.
Well, so if you want to pause and get some out, we can continue. After, if you want to get some bait in before it's dark.
We'll give it 5 minutes. Yeah. Especially if they've got their heads down, because they look like they're having a right old grub.
Yeah, that's good. Promising, mate.
They've had loads of bait on there. What was I talking about? When I was a sales manager, and I heard somebody say it. I can't actually remember who it was, but it came with a little bit of a mantra. If you always do what you've always done, you'll only get what you've always got.
Yeah, which is so true.
Really true.
And something that people just overlook massively as well.
So, I mean, how that translates to fishing. Yeah. If you've always been the type of person that goes to the same spot, whether that's a pier, or a certain pond, or a certain swim on a certain pond, or whatever. Yeah. You'll only catch what you've always caught. Yeah. Barring the odd surprise, perhaps, but generally. And then you see these people that And I'm not going to lie, I wouldn't say that I'm one of the hardest working anglers in the world. I really wouldn't.
Yeah.
But you see these guys that put in big shifts and they'll move 2 or 3 times or 4 times, 5 times in a session. They'll move at night in the rain.
Yeah.
And then they catch these mega fish, or they have these mega hauls, and
Yeah.
And then some people are like, God, he's lucky, isn't he? Or God, I wish I could afford to put as much bait in as him, or whatever. And really and truly, it's that little bit extra that separates them. They're willing to go that extra mile and do that bit more. And I always, like to see that one again. Yeah, they're bang on that spot now.
Same spot. Yeah.
Like to think that I can learn and eventually implement bits and bobs. This for me is part of that. It's challenging myself to go and do things that I've not done before and learn some things I've not learned before. And if I don't catch a fish, I'll walk away from you knowing that I've learned some stuff. I absolutely will, and I could put into practice.
Yeah, definitely.
When I return or somewhere else.
Yeah, that's really important, mate. That's a couple of times we've seen. So we saw that one just show there.
Yeah.
Is that similar to your spot? Or
they're bang on it.
Where that one was.
If you see the 2 points on that house opposite us, that great big holiday home thing.
Yeah.
There's the 2 points, and you've got a little bit of flat roof in between.
Yeah, yeah.
If I'm still on the end of my rods, I'm lining up with that bit of flat roof.
Yeah.
But obviously, there's a little bit of left and right in terms of my spomming. I haven't got a finger saw, and I've split my finger with my braid yesterday.
Oh, God.
So I let go of the odd one a little bit soon because it hurts. So I've been a little bit what's the word? Messy?
Yeah.
Inaccurate? Is that a word? Yeah, that's a word.
That's what I found when I was fishing church, obviously, because I did a bit of time on large ache at distance, and I sort of found it almost harder to spawn closer to
because you're used to smacking it.
Yeah, just to flick it, and you're always stopping it straight away to keep it. I've always found it hard to keep it accurate that way. Again, it's just mixing it up all the time, isn't it? Not doing that one thing.
There's I don't spom a lot.
No.
I just don't. I haven't yet at church.
Yeah.
I've because a lot of people do. I like to try and be a little bit different.
Yeah.
Not to say that I never will.
Yeah.
But Sandhurst we spommed pretty close range actually. I found my spot that I wanted to fish at about 50, 60 yards, which was nice and easy. But I still put a nice little spread. I didn't keep it on a dinner plate. I wanted to, give them a little bit more room to feed freely and that sort of thing. But I like fishing over a spread of boilies, but I felt here that I wanted to put more small pieces of bait in to keep the crays busy, to stain the silt with flavour. I wanted to keep, something in the area for as long as possible, given the amount of pests in the water. It's big. Shoals of roach in here that go 3-4 pound in there.
Yeah.
Shoals, you can see the amount of tension that are in that swim. They'd be cleaning me out now because they're little hoovers.
Yeah, and it's a rich water, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's the spomming is. I think it's the right bit for this application today.
Yeah.
If I was in a different peg, I've got a load of boilie in my barrow that I haven't crumbed up and stuff, and I might get the catapult out and fish over a tennis court size or a snooker table size spread of boilie with a hinge or a chod and. Or a wafter, depending on the bottom. And
do you know what sort of depths you're fishing out on that spot or not?
I haven't put a marker float out there.
Yeah.
I just felt for the drop, but I would say I would estimate that I'm probably in about 8 or 9 feet probably. There's a bit of a shallower spot further back, but it's got a load of weed on it, so that makes sense. The weed's thicker as it shallows up. So I think I've started to find the bar because apparently there is a big bar that runs down there.
Right.
I started to find that, but I couldn't get far enough to stay accurate to be fishing onto the bar with the.
I suppose could that be what that buoy's there for? Do you think?
Could be marking it. Yeah.
Keep the boats away from it, or does it not go that shallow? I don't think.
I don't know, to be honest. I haven't managed to get as far as that. That's a good chuck. That it's probably what's that 150 yards.
Yeah.
40 maybe. So it's a long way.
Yeah.
It's too far for me to be fishing accurately, if I'm honest, because I haven't done enough practice at it.
Yeah.
My gear's probably not ideal. 3.25 pound rods are quite forgiving. The CTXs are free spirits.
Yeah.
I think that if I was going to spend a serious amount of time here, then I'd need to look at upgrading some gear.
Yeah.
But I don't have the money, so just have to make do.
Yeah, it's it can be brutal, can't it, as well? Like constantly fishing longer range.
Yeah, I mean, Christ, after leading about yesterday and then putting out, I put about 5 kilo out with a DOTS bomb.
Yeah.
I was knackered.
Yeah.
My back was in bits, honestly. So it can be pretty hard work, and
Yeah. When you
but
get
hopefully the rewards will be there, and obviously
Yeah.
there's fish on the spot right now. We know there's fish on that spot feeding right now.
Yeah.
So you never know, there might be some carp around the edges, there might not, but it's got to draw carp in, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's come over all cloudy, hasn't it, again?
Yeah.
Cloudy, feels a bit muggy.
Bit of rain on the roof maybe now in a minute on the bivvy.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, so that's me really, I guess.
does look prime, yeah. It does look prime for a bite, mate. So do you reckon you'll come back to it to give it another bash, do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I've always got this mindset of tenacity. I don't like to be beaten by anything, especially in fishing, because I've always eventually got what I've wanted in fishing.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually. Sometimes it's taken me a long, long time. I remember trying to catch my first salmon. It took me 7 years to catch my first salmon. I spent a lot of time on rivers fishing for salmon. And then I wanted to get my first one on the fly, and that took a long time. And
So you're saying you've had a big salmon on?
big salmon on, boy! Big salmon on! That's a Cotswold thing as well, isn't it?
Good old Mitch and the boys.
Oh, the T-Boys. I love it, I do. I've been following that page since last year, since I first started. I think it's hilarious. I really think it's funny. Boys, have a tea there, B. That's gone viral lately, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the salmon's the next one, isn't it?
Big salmon.
That's what I can't do, isn't it? On the Angry Direct page.
Has he done it as well, has he? He's comical, isn't he? His podcast is great.
Sorry, I've just dropped my handbag, and now there's no wind. You might get a waft of that. Good thing there's not, I was going to say smell-o-vision, but you can't say it anyway.
Yeah.
I'm happy just sat watching the water. I'm sure it doesn't make very good listening.
Probably doesn't. Yes, probably not helping the essence of this podcast.
What's next for you then, Rhysy boy?
What's next for me?
Because everywhere's a mission, I suppose, for you to get to,
Everywhere's
isn't
a mission
it?
for me. I've got my little club water, and I've got there's a great group of lads that I've made friends with through fishing. I think all my friends are through fishing. I don't think I actually have any friends that don't fish, genuinely.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I do anyway.
Yeah.
If you're listening, I'm sorry, but you don't fish, you will be.
Yeah.
What's next for me? I've got my little club water. It is a little water. It does get busy. It's got its quirks and all the rest of it. There's some banging little fish in there, and it's a nice little social scene. I've had a little bit of a break from it. I'm not going to lie. Maybe talk about that in a minute. Mental health stuff.
Yeah.
I've had a little bit of a break from that scene, but I'll spend a bit of time there probably through the summer.
Yeah.
I've got this place is under my skin a little bit. I think that I'll fish this until I catch one.
Yeah.
I would like to. There's a fish in Sandhurst that I would really like to catch called the armadillo.
Right.
I love that fish.
Yeah.
I think it's about 33, 34 pound. Massive big plate scales on it, black and
crunch
orange
on the
colours,
outside,
smooth on the inside. That's a really cool fish. I'd really like to catch that. It's not the biggest in the lake by any stretch, but it's a looker, and that's important to me. So I think I'm going to try and get a bit more time on there. And to be honest, I think that I'd like to get to a position where I can start thinking about having a target fish and starting a campaign. I think that this flitting between waters is helping me to hone some skills.
Yeah.
But I also don't get a chance to be in tune with the water. I don't get
is a big thing.
Massive.
Isn't it?
It's massive. It's handy if you know people locally.
Yeah.
Because you can get a feel for it, and turning up yesterday and having the inside knowledge of Matt, who works in the tackle den, Mitch, who works on the entire water park and knows that like a back of his hand, he's fishing the lake next door as his water, and the information that these guys can give you is awesome. But I'm still not seeing it. I'm not touching it. The little nuances in the wind, the temperature dips, how that affects the fish, and also seeing things change. Like I like seeing the seasons change. I like seeing things go green. Yeah,
seeing things wake up. And,
and you maybe don't get that if you're coming up once a month. So things change so quickly. I think that all this flitting around is great, but I'm going to need to, probably towards the end of this year, set myself a proper goal. And it might not be a PB fish, it might just be a fish from a water that I feel is going to offer me the right level of challenge I don't want it to be too hard.
Yeah.
Because I want to catch fish. I don't
Yeah.
want to catch 2 fish a year, you know. But by the same token, I don't want to catch 10 fish a session. I'm not asked.
Yeah. In here, obviously, what sort of weight does stockies go in here now? Do you know? Because obviously a load were put in here, weren't they, a while ago?
I really don't know, mate. Genuinely,
Yeah.
I don't know much about the stock at all. I've seen a few pictures and stuff. I don't think I've seen a picture of a bad Cotswold carp.
No.
They all seem to be, you know, the water's clear. They're nice and dark, and there's loads of scaly bangers everywhere. And
Yeah.
there's a couple of really old fish I've seen pictures of. Wilmots is one of them. I could probably
Yeah.
fish that for a long time
Yeah.
and fish here for a long time and not catch that fish.
Yeah. Is the tiger fish still in there or not?
Don't know. Never heard of that one.
Yeah, I think that's older than Wilmot.
Is it?
I think so. Yeah, ancient. I don't know when the guys will know, won't they?
But yeah, in answer to your question, I think what's next for me is I'll just carry on enjoying myself, doing my thing.
Yeah.
Fishing with friends sometimes and fishing alone sometimes, but just whatever makes me feel happy at that time, whatever's right for my brain, as I like to say.
Yeah.
And then I'll go on.
Go on, that's gone up. That bobbin's gone up a bit, hasn't it?
Yeah,
Oh,
left
you've
hand.
got a big crayfish on, boy.
Big salmon on. Yeah, and then I'll pick a water and commit to it. I think it's about time I did a proper campaign for something. I mean, Christ, I started catching carp about 20 years ago, and
Yeah.
I've never done a full campaign. But I think it'll need to be somewhere where I'm going to have some great backup fish as well.
Yeah.
You know, where I'm going to be really happy to catch each and every fish. I generally am anyway.
Yeah, I think that was the draw of Christchurch, isn't it? It's not like you're just going for one. When you get that take, you know there's a chance that you've got a bit of a jewel.
I mean, Christ, is what, 1940s in there?
Yeah.
I don't know how many 30s, and there's probably not many fish that are under 20. I think I've only ever heard of like 1 or 2 small commons.
Yeah.
Not that I know loads about the place, of course, but it's a magical place, that one. Obviously, don't know how much longer we'll all be able to fish that open access.
Yeah.
But I don't know the ins and outs of it, so probably shouldn't talk about it. It's a lot of speculation, isn't there? And maybe that's what it is. Who knows? But
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. To be sure.
Either way, whilst we don't know, it's probably time to make hay.
Yeah.
While the sun's shining, and hope it continues to.
Yeah. Yeah. Good shout. Okay, mate. Anything else you wanna touch on?
No, I think the only thing that really resonated with me when I listened to the podcasts and in life in general and stuff like that is being really open and talking about mental health.
Yeah.
'Cause, Mike's was great.
Yeah.
Really, really. I'd love to meet the guy. It's such a positive. Mike Bridges. He could have not talked about fishing, and I'd still will listen to that 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
You know, and I listened to it as a fishing podcast. But,
Yeah.
being really open about it and stuff, and I've struggled, and I'm really open that I've struggled. And last year, I tried to take my own life.
Yeah.
In a really, really bad place, and I didn't realise I was getting there. I didn't realise that I needed out. I didn't speak up and all the rest of it. And I just think that so many people go through some really shit times. And that's what they are, and they beat themselves up because they don't know what's wrong, and they don't know why they feel the way they do, and they don't, why am I like this, and can't show weakness, and people need me, and it's all right, it's okay not to be okay.
Yeah.
And I think that especially people who fish, people who've got a shared interest, a shared passion, a common passion, people that it's things that men bond over fishing for life.
Yeah.
So if your mate's all of a sudden not going fishing or anything like that, or if he's struggling to get out the door, or he's miserable, and all that good stuff, stopping taking an interest in the things you're most interested in is apparently one of the biggest signs. It was for me, and I didn't even notice, but I wasn't going out with my bass rod, I wasn't going out on my boat. It's just checking on your mates and making sure they're okay, and using fishing for me is the best kind of therapy anyone could ever prescribe. I've got 3 nights here, and I get a lot of time in my own mind. Sometimes I'll sit and read a book, sometimes I'll sit and watch the water, but a lot of the time I'm in my own head, and I'm processing stuff, and I'm turning it over, and I'm just thinking, how could I behave differently here, and what would I have done differently there, and seen another fish lump out there, and it's nowhere near. That was another tench.
Was that?
Yeah, in line with the end of the point.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, just using fishing as therapy. I think it's such a great sport. We should, get loads of kids into it and get loads of, get all your mates involved and use it as what it is the best escape anyone could possibly have, in my opinion.
Yeah, awesome. That's a great way to end, a really valid point. Okay, so if people want to get in touch with you, Rhys,
I don't know if anyone would, to be honest. No one's going to know who I am.
You are a bit dull, but I didn't want to say at the beginning, so I thought it might have affected it. No, on a serious note, what's your Instagram? You're on Instagram? Yeah,
I'm on Instagram, Hunty Fishing, Hunty_fishing. I don't really use Facebook for fishing as much. I find Instagram for me is a nice positive place in general. Yeah, Facebook can be a little bit less. So.
Yeah, funny, isn't it?
I don't know why, but for me, weird. I do use it and I'm on it a lot, but I don't really use it for me fishing. I try and keep it a bit separate, put the odd thing up for my family to see.
I think obviously Instagram works because visual fishing's quite visual, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fish, bait, rigs, tactics.
Yeah, that's how you can find me if you. I don't know if you would, but I mean, some people say my Instagram stories are quite funny, and some people don't watch past the first section. And if anybody wants to offer me, like ESP or Fox or someone wants to come on board and offer me an amazing tackle deal and maybe employ me full time, I'm open to offers.
Well, there you go. Can't say more than that. If anyone's listening, get in touch at Hunty Fishing.
There you go.
Rhys, thank you, mate.
Cheers, Dom. Thanks for having me.